Hi guys, so in this video I'm taking things completely back to basics and I'm going to be talking about how to go cruelty free. So I've got 5 top tips on how to go cruelty free, all from my own experience. I'm by no means an expert, but they're just things that I wish I knew when I first started my cruelty free journey two or 3 years ago, and I really hope this helps if you're getting into cruelty-free buying, cruelty-free shopping, more conscious living. Then I hope this helps you out. It's mainly aimed towards beginners, to be honest, but if you are already a cruelty-free shopper, cruelty-free blogger, you might get something out of this as well. I'll leave any relevant links or blog posts or timestamps down below in case you want to cut to the good stuff. Then check the down bar, but other than that, let's get straight on into it with tip number 1. So my first tip is to educate yourself, and that sounds very straightforward, and it pretty much is straightforward. You need to know about brands and which brands you support and which brands you don't support. Their cruelty-free status is, it's imperative to shopping cruelty-free. You need to know which brands you're going to shop with, which brands you aren't going to shop with. But the question is, how do you know which brands are or aren't cruelty-free? Well, there are multiple different ways you can find out. First way, I think for beginners, the best way in, like an entryway in, is using the Leaping Bunny accreditation. So Cruelty Free International have a stamp of approval, and it is a little bunny and it says Cruelty Free International underneath. I'll show you an example. This is a Superdrug day cream, and if you look on the bottom, it's got that Leaping Bunny and Cruelty Free International. You've got to make sure that it's this bunny. Just because it has a bunny on the bottom doesn't mean it's cruelty-free international. That doesn't necessarily mean it's not cruelty-free, but essentially to have that stamp on a product, the brand will have to jump through certain hoops. They have to pay a little bit of money, they have to agree to have an independent auditor come in and make sure they're not testing on animals after a fixed cut-off date. They need to make sure their suppliers aren't testing on animals. There are certain things they have to do. Now there are problems with this stamp of approval, which I'll leave in a blog post down below. But as an entryway in for beginners, if you're going through the aisles of a shop and you pick up a product and it's got this Leaping Bunny on it, you can feel safe in knowing that it's cruelty free. So I think that's a really good objective measure for beginners. Other sources that you can check, obviously cruelty-free-international.org, they've got their own website, they've got a search engine, pretty sure they've got an app as well. One of my favourite cruelty-free blogs is Logical Harmony. I'm sure you know who Logical Harmony is if you know anything about cruelty-free blogging. She has an amazing cruelty-free list that she regularly updates. She's very thorough in her investigations. I trust her opinion and I trust her verdict on brands, but I do think it's really important to check multiple sources. So there are loads of other online sources, which again I'll leave down below if you're interested. So I would say for very, very beginners, the Leaping Bunny stamp is a really, really good one to look out for when you're going down the aisles of the supermarket and you're looking at the back of a washing up liquid. If it's got that stamp on it, you know that's cruelty free. And as you build up your knowledge, and you definitely do build it up, it is a process, it is a journey. Cruelty-free living and more ethical consumption, it's definitely something that you build upon, you work upon, you learn as you go along. You'll get to a stage where you won't even need to check for the bunny because you'll know about brands and you'll know which ones you do and don't support. And obviously looking online at other blogs and things like that, there are loads of other resources out there, but take everything with a pinch of salt, because you need to remember that anyone can write anything online these days and it doesn't necessarily have to be true. My personal favourite way of finding out information when I'm educating myself is to go straight to the brand. Not just take their animal statement policy, but go straight to the brand, email them and ask them set questions about their procedures, about their production, about their sourcing, and hear it from the horse's mouth. And I actually started doing my own cruelty-free master post, more for my benefit than anyone else's. I've just got it on a tab on my phone most of the time, so when I'm going down the aisles of a supermarket, I can just check it, and like if I ever forget the vegan product list of some brand, I'll just go on my own blog, rack up those page views, and yeah, it's a really good reference. So I would definitely recommend, under this one tip, there are lots of other baby tips, but I would definitely recommend starting your own post, or even if it's just a note on your phone, just so you know which brands you aren't supporting, which ones you are supporting. If you ever forget, it's a really useful resource to have. So I will link my master post down below. It's slowly growing, but it's taking some time, and I'll also leave my cruelty-free template down below, so if you ever want to just use that, copy and paste it and then fill in the blanks with obviously your name and the brand you're writing to, you're more than welcome to use that. If you don't know what kind of questions to ask, hopefully that's helpful as well. Tip number 2 is to switch over gradually. So this is one that sounds very common sense again. A lot of this is common sense, but for me personally, I think it's very counterintuitive to the cruelty-free movement, to the ethical consumption movement, to throw away all of your non-cruelty-free products and then buy all new cruelty-free products. And maybe that's just because for me personally, I'm not just on a cruelty-free journey, I'm also on a more ethical consumption journey. Like, I want to shop less and shop better and stop wasting money and stop wasting materials and products and just stop contributing so much to waste, as well as stopping contributing to cruelty. I do think most people would agree with this point as well. Like, it's a waste just to throw everything out and just to buy it all again. And not to mention that costs a lot of money. So I would recommend switching out gradually, using up what you've got, and then when you run out of something, find a cruelty-free alternative, research cruelty-free alternatives, get a dupe, and then when you need to buy a new one, then buy a new one. Don't just buy one for the sake of it. But it is all down to your personal preference. If you no longer feel comfortable with using that product because you know it was tested on animals or the brand tested on animals, fair enough. But for me, it's more about consumption choices. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense, but I do feel like most people would agree with me there, that it makes more sense just to use up what you've got. Like, I still have 1 or 2 products that I'm still using up even now, which are probably incredibly out of date, but we'll just ignore that and move straight on. Kind of a continuation of tip number 2, my third tip is to have a sort out. Have a bit of a spring clean and sort things into piles. So have one pile of things that are cruelty-free, you know, that's fine, you continue using those. Another pile of things that you want to replace that aren't cruelty free, that you don't want to repurchase and you're trying to find replacements for. And then another pile of things that aren't cruelty free that you just don't want to find replacements for, you don't want anymore. And it's this pile that you've got a couple of options of what you can do with them. So you can either give them away to family and friends, and I gave away, I'm not kidding, bags of stuff. Bags and bags of stuff to my friends and to my mum. I had so much stuff, you have no idea. So even with things that are, so for example, this set I bought quite a long time ago, and some of the brushes are vegan but some of them aren't. I don't need that many makeup brushes, so I'm going to give my friends a couple of brushes as well. I mean, they're really in the money. I gave away bags and bags of stuff.
Thanks. Wow! It's actually really cool. What do I use this one for?
And then those friends and family members get the enjoyment of using those pieces, and they'll actually get wear out of them. Or even if they just experiment with them and try looks that they might not necessarily, you know, try products they might not necessarily spend their money on, but they get the enjoyment of experimenting and being a bit creative with them. That's really, really cool. That's a really good gift to give someone. Another thing you can do if the product is untampered with, if it's sealed, you can actually sell it on. Makeup sells pretty well on Depop. Like, Depop's an app, if you don't know. It's like eBay but in an app, and people buy anything on that app. Like, I think the weirdest thing I've seen someone buy on Depop is, and no offense if you do this, like, each to their own, but they buy makeup boxes. So like the boxes to a product, not the product itself, not the packaging, the box that it comes in. So like MAC boxes, or like Chanel, the makeup box, not a shoe box, not packaging, the actual plastic, the box, the cardboard box. They pay money for that. If people pay money for that, they will pay money for your untampered sealed palettes and lipsticks and, you know, you name it, it will sell on Depop. And each to his own, you know, one man's trash is another man's treasure and all that. So for example, all these MAC lipsticks that I got probably just a month before going cruelty free or starting to go cruelty free, hardly touched or unused. So I've sanitised them and I'm selling those. And stuff like this, Becca Moonstone Highlight, which was cruelty free when I bought it, annoyingly, but now they've been sold to Estee Lauder, so not 100% cruelty free anymore. So I won't be buying from them and I will be giving this away or whatever. So definitely check out Depop. If you've got a massive makeup collection and you want to sell some things on, check out Depop. Another thing you can do with the products that you don't want anymore is donate them. So you can donate them to shelters or to charities. There's one charity in particular I wanted to talk about called Give and Makeup. They accept loads of different things, clothes as well and toiletries, but makeup specifically, they accept untampered makeup or very lightly used makeup. You know, not something that's got an applicator like a mascara or a lip gloss, but a lightly used blush or powder they will accept. If it's like a pump foundation, they'll accept. And it's such a good cause. Like, I will start crying if I get too much into this, but basically they use the makeup, it's given to women who have been in abusive relationship or they've been controlled by an abusive partner and they maybe haven't had the freedom to express themselves and wear the makeup that they want to wear and wear their hair how they want to wear it. They give this makeup to these women and they can use it to express themselves and be creative and do the things they've always wanted to do in terms of empower themselves with makeup, and it makes me well up because it's such a good idea. Makeup is so powerful and so important to so many people, and the creative side is just, I'm in complete awe, and I think it's an amazing charity. So definitely check it out. If you do want to get rid of a load of your stuff that's not cruelty free, then definitely have a look at their website. And then of course anything that you can't donate or sell or give away, recycle or throw away. Unfortunately, there will be some things that you'll just have to get rid of. My second to last tip is to continue researching, and make sure that you research before you make a purchase. I've also been trying to shop less toxic, so buying products that have fewer chemicals in, that are a bit more natural. This process of me researching a product before I buy it means that I look at reviews and I look at the product in depth, and it actually means that I waste less money and I waste less product because I make more informed purchases. I follow loads of blogs, I follow YouTube channels that are cruelty free and vegan, and I'll leave my recommendations down below. The cruelty free community is amazing. There are so many people. It's definitely growing, it's definitely picking up speed, so make a cruelty free blog, join us. People who are online as well and who are doing reviews, they don't have a hidden agenda. It's not like a brand trying to push products on you. They're just people who are trying out products, who love cruelty-free products, who love animals and want to support each other. It's a great community, so I would definitely recommend following blogs, following YouTube channels, join us and keep researching and building on your knowledge. There are also a couple of apps you can get on your phone that are really handy for being out and about, and I'll leave my favourites again down below. I'm not trying to consistently self-promo and push you onto my blog, but there's just too many things for me to say in this video that I really want to say, that I want to get the information out there, but not enough time, and I feel like this video will be way too long. So check my blog. If there's anything that I've mentioned, then check it and it will be there. Moving on to my final tip, tip number 5, is to spread the word. And by this I mean spread the cruelty-free message, and spread the message within your circles, spread the message online, spread the message to companies. So starting with your own circles, engage in conversation with people. Let people know that you're now shopping cruelty free and that you only use cruelty free household products, or you want to shop cruelty free in your skincare routine. And I know it's hard sometimes to engage with people if they don't know what they're talking about, or if they have very opposing views to you, not necessarily wrong views, but just opposing views. It can be hard to talk to them and have a conversation about it. But without doing that, without actually reaching out and being understanding of other people's views, how are they ever going to be understanding of your views? How are they ever going to see your point of view and see the world that you live in? Because it is very easy to just shut people down and shut people out who maybe don't care about animals, don't care about cruelty-free living. If you personally really love animals, you might not want to sit down and talk to them, but it's important to do so. Otherwise, how are we ever going to make any progress? Like, you can't just sit there and surround yourself with people who have the exact same opinions, because then that becomes your world and you think the whole world is like that, and it's just not the case. It's not the case at all. So it's important to get out there, spread the word within your circles, your family, your friends. Just because somebody isn't cruelty free in their shopping habits, it doesn't make them a bad person. It just maybe means they don't know, or they haven't stopped and thought about what they're purchasing or where they're putting their money towards. Or maybe they've got stuff going on, or maybe they just haven't had time. It doesn't make them a bad person, but without engaging in conversation with them, how are we ever going to make a change, you know? You've got to be the change. You've got to be the change to see the change, you know? Go in with an open mind, don't make people feel guilty, just talk to them and question them, but in a respectful way, in an understanding way, and with some compassion, because at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to achieve, isn't it? A little less cruelty and a little bit more compassion. As well as your own circles and as well as online, as I say, talk to companies, let them know if you're shopping with them, let them know that you're shopping with them because they are cruelty free, and that it is a selling point, and that staying out of the Chinese retail market is worth it because that's why you shop with them, and it's important to you, and make it known. It's important for them to remember that we are shopping with them because they're cruelty free and because they don't engage in cruelty. And then on the flip side of that, let brands know who aren't cruelty free that you would shop with them were they to go cruelty free. If they pulled out of the Chinese retail market, they would have a huge market of veggies, vegans, cruelty-free shoppers. We'd be waiting for them, we would shop with them. If they stopped animal testing, if they stopped funding animal testing, we would go for it. So let them know that it's important, and yeah, just get on their radar, because there's definitely power in that. And again, I'll leave that template for cruelty-free requests and cruelty-free inquiries down below. Cruelty-free, cruelty-free. I keep saying cruelty-free. words. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to say. Those are my 5 top tips on going cruelty free. Don't lose sight of why you're actually shopping cruelty free, because it's not just a bandwagon trend. It's not just something that has picked up for no reason. There is meaning behind it, and you're pledging to reduce the amount of cruelty that you are funding, and that is not without merit. You're trying to contribute less to cruelty in a world that really does thrive off you overlooking that cruelty behind closed doors. And a very wise person wrote on the Berlin Wall, many small people in many small places do many small things that change the world, and I definitely believe that. If you don't agree with something, don't fund it, and that's what it boils down to. So I really hope this video was useful. I hope it wasn't too preachy. I hope there was enough information in it that you didn't get overwhelmed, but you still got something from it. And if you've got any questions, please let me know. Again, I'm not an expert, but I am here to help. If you're a beginner, if you've got any queries I can help you with, then find me on social media. I'll leave my details down below, and yeah, hit me up, we can have a chat and just engage in that conversation I was talking about. I hope you have a really good day, and hopefully I will see you very soon. Bye.